Hey everybody, thanks for coming to check out my behind the scenes video for my new project, Trail of Light. I had the wildest experience putting this together, and I'm really excited to deep dive into a lot of the creative process that went into this project. So today I've brought in a really special friend to help me get into the nitty-gritty. We have Gretchen from the Royal Soiree here with me today. Hi, Gretchen.
Hey, Devin.
Gretchen is amazing. She has this wonderful event company that she has started. She has a degree in theatrical design. She is the most qualified creative person I could think of to work on something like this with me. So thank you for being here.
Well, you're very welcome. And I do have very many questions about this. And I have questions about not only your process of designing and creating this concept, but then also the real deal in action, how this whole process went for you as a project. So let's get started.
Awesome. I'm excited. Thanks.
So first, I kind of want to break this down.
Part one will be exploring the design, the concept, and the inspiration of the film. And then part two will be behind the scenes, getting into the production and what went into bringing the project to life.
So let's start with part one, behind the story.
Oh, I love it.
So to start off, I would love to know, what does this project mean to you and what inspired it?
That's a big question.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot there. For me, this is a journey about my experience as a composer and what I went through in college. I had always written my own music. I'd never taken lessons. Frankly, I didn't know what I was doing. And when I started college, all of the theory classes, the composition standards that we studied began to impact me. I began overthinking everything I did and trying to make it good, and I already had Trail of Light as a little work in progress, and I ended up tossing it out and deciding it sucked. A lot of my creativity was stifled. So relating it to the video, the child in me was being scolded, told to hurry up, stop playing. We had goals to reach. It's like I ran that child off. I desperately tried to apply this new expectation to my work, and it was kind of artificial, like a mechanical device showing me the way instead of my own intuition. My writing process became very methodical and overthought, and my device burned out. And once I graduated, I stopped playing for a long time. Years later, I discovered Trail of Light again, and I was like, this is a really beautiful piece. It's so sad that I was once at a place where I criticized it so much where I decided it wasn't worth anything. I kind of fell in love with it, touching it up, adding some new parts, and I realized how much fun I was having and how organic that process was. And ultimately, how beautiful the music still was. It reminded me of how I felt as a kid and working without all those expectations I had put on myself. So like in the video, those were my flashbacks to how I remembered having that light on my own. So I fell in love with this process again. I finished the piece. I came up with this whole story. I put so much cathartic passion into the project, and it made me feel like I had found my way back home. It's like, I am a composer, not because I'm on par with the classics, but because I compose music. That's what the word means. I have found a great comfort in discovering musicians like Michelle McLaughlin, who have never had lessons. She doesn't even read music, and she's one of the most top streamed piano artists online. She just sits down and plays whatever is in her heart and records it. And there's a reason that millions of people love her music. We don't need to be impressed by someone's application of skills and knowledge to create something better than anything that's ever been done.
Mm-hmm.
All of that is really harmful, and probably the reason that more people don't pursue things that they love to do. So, long answer short, it's about finding your roots, doing what you love simply because you love doing it. Find your own trail of light and you will find your way.
I absolutely love that. And it's so true. The tools can guide us, like tools and skills and knowledge can guide us, but they are not what drives us. And they can't be the heart of your work.
And I don't want to be misunderstood. I am very thankful for everything I learned in college, and I grew so much. You just have to compartmentalize your knowledge in ways that help you instead of make it feel like you have weight to carry. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yay! So let's talk about the theme of lights guiding you home. Where did that specific theme come from?
I had started the song a long time ago, and my working title back then was actually called Trail of Lights, just because the music sounded very twinkly and magical. So when I discovered it again, I think that imagery just stuck in my mind and really helped influence the story. I think Lindsey Stirling had a really big impact on how everything ended up in my mind. It's kind of in her niche. She has a lot of symbolism of light in her videos, and she's always been a huge inspiration to me. So I kind of credit her to the final vision that I had about light in this symbolism that I was trying to convey. There's actually a few little nods in my video to her.
Ooh.
The scene with Amaya running through the spider webs is a reference to Lindsey's video Lost Girls, where she does a very similar thing in a storm in the woods.
I love it.
And
yes, Easter eggs.
my favorite one is the piano. The brand on it says Sterling and Co. It's like, you see it for just a second, but it's there. My little nod, like, thanks, Lindsey. I really wouldn't be able to do anything that I do if it wasn't for her, so.
That is super fun. So let's discuss the choice to make the main two characters kind of a less common dynamic. We have a father and a daughter. So I'm wondering, what was the choice to have it be that way instead of choosing it to be a story about two best friends or like an older couple or something like that?
It's kind of funny. A father and daughter relationship is really kind of how I feel about my relationship with myself. The adult in me is a father figure to a lot of people, and the child in me is 100% a little girl. That's just who I am. I feel like their family dynamic really represents a lot of what I was talking about, how the piece symbolizes for me. So
I love it. You got the daughter representing that like free-spirited, maybe not as classically trained, part of your music history, and then the father representing that, structure and things like that.
Yeah, especially with the role that we gave him with being like a tinkerer, an inventor. I feel like he probably has much more of a left brain. He's very mathematical. He does all these things. It's almost like the two different sides of how I treat myself clashing, but also loving each other at the same time. So I feel like it was a really cool symbol. Him being an inventor also highlights that she is his most prized creation from all the other gadgets and things that he's made. No, plot twist, she's a cyborg.
Oh my God, she's an android. Clong.
I hate that.
There is room for that in the sequel. I'm just saying. We're saying no to nothing. That's what I like about this. So with the two of them, how did you find those like actual actors and what made them perfect for the roles? So
I had known Amaya for a few years. She was a student at my school. She and I were already pretty close. She has such an active imagination.
Or I could just go behind you and you could actually like sit down in the chair and like the camera's actually in my point.
Would you like that?
Yeah.
Take two.
That's gonna be definitely in the blooper. Genius, Devin. Geniusy.
I had to have Amaya. She had to be the one. And Jeff, who played the father, I had no idea who to put into that role. I literally did not know anybody. So I asked around, and one of my neighbors recommended him to me, and he ended up being perfect.
Cute. Let's do that again. I love the look.
Okay, ready, Michael? 1, 2, 3.
Cool. I like that.
It was one of those stars align moments.
Little serendipity moment. I love that you've got someone that you've known, for a long time that you were like, this is the person for the role. And then someone who just like happenstance ended up, being brought to you. With, this whole creative process, obviously it sounds like it was a new project for both of them, new territory. What was the process like then getting them ready for the roles and like, getting costume design and props and kind of preparing them for their performances?
Once we started filming, I did a lot of directing and coaching as we worked through the thing. Amaya was only in 5th grade, and Jeff actually had 0 acting experience. He was just excited to be involved.
You're feeling very upset.
Yelling at you.
Fun.
I really liked you sniffing the flower and then
Okay.
putting it down. That was sweet.
This bed is actually kind of really comfy.
Oh, you're gonna spend the night here.
Once we got there and Jeff had all the pack of trinkets on him. Did you notice, amidst all that stuff, that there was actually an ocarina?
I did. Yes.
I
Which is
really
Easter egg
wanted
also
that.
to another film of yours. I must
Yeah,
say.
absolutely. However, tragic. Whenever we were first putting the pack on him, it fell
Yeah.
off,
Oh.
and the ocarina fell on the sidewalk, and it broke in half. And
No.
I wept.
Ocarina.
The Ocarina of Artemis was my first attempt at a YouTube video, and I learned so much from it. And I knew I wanted to reference it in this one.
Well,
And the cool part is, it was all sort of worth it in the end, I guess, because I was able to put the broken ocarina in the scene where Amaya finds all of his stuff thrown around. So it's
wow.
its tragedy had a purpose.
It did. It did. Its sacrifice was not in vain. Sad day though. Rest in peace, Ocarina. Bless. I know we kind of delved into, the 2 of them, but there are 3, people showing up in this project. You make an
Oh, yeah.
appearance.
I
And
do.
so I want to know more about your role there. To me, it felt like you were an omniscient, storyteller. But I don't know if you were guiding the story or reacting to the story. So tell me more about that.
I love that idea. I don't know, actually, because the funny thing is I wasn't supposed to be in it at all.
At all.
That was a very late decision because I needed more content. I didn't have enough footage to fill out the song. And I decided to go back and add me in there afterwards, which I should have done it the whole time because I love the back and forth and the contrast it adds and kind of the, I guess, music video feeling that it gives it. And another thing that we added after the fact was the fireflies. So I felt like the visuals were kind of falling flat, especially during that second verse, you could say. They were all added really late in post-production. I think that ended up being a really cool symbol of creating your own light in the end. It really seems like they belong there the whole time.
Oh, no, it's beautiful. I think it's vital to it. It adds a lot of dimension. I like that a lot. Before we begin in our part 2 of this interview, I have a very important question. Who or what? Or who, how, what is with the claws at the end there? I got freaked out. I don't know what's going on. This creepy claw person has the locket. So who is that character? What are they up to?
My Marvel post-credits.
Yes, your Marvel post-credit scene with the
I have no idea. again, that is one of the super fun things about this project is that I came at it from a very visual storytelling point of view. There's no dialogue, there's no explanation. We just see these characters and these environments as we're moving through them. And a lot of it doesn't have a whole lot of context. So you get to piece together kind of your own idea of what's going on throughout the video. And I think that makes it really, really cool. The ending there was pretty much just me being a jerk. I have no idea, thinking about how could this tie in without really giving an explanation.
We'll have to see in the sequel
Why not?
that and the cyborg backstory of the child. So we've got a lot of ground to cover. Part 2, behind the production.
You're having way too much fun.
Okay, so big picture, this is a huge project to undertake, and I think that people who haven't done film projects like this don't know how much work goes into it. So walk me through the planning process for this film.
I had no idea how much work goes into something like this either when I started. At this point, after doing something like this, I probably have more of a process than I did when I started this project.
You're learning, you know?
I think I just tackled things in the order that I thought they needed to happen. So as a team of one, my process was very linear. I just finished the music and then I planned out things in a step-by-step way. What needs to happen before this can happen? You know, what props do we need? Then where are we filming? All just while keeping the end goal in mind and slowly puzzle piecing it together. I wish I had a more like professional example, but I feel like I fumbled my way through this one pretty well.
This is how we learn. We love it. It's the process.
Yes.
We trust the process. So this film had a crazy amount of like visual effects and fancy things. I was watching it and I was like, oh my God, Devin, like, what? How did you achieve all this? So we have, you know, the fireflies and everything, and the locket, the mechanics of the locket. How did you go about finding out how to do those effects? And did you do them all yourself?
I did. That was a whole new level of production for me. I had so many ambitious visions. It was very cinematic and magical, fairy tale. And I had to learn how to make all that happen in a believable way. I use Adobe Premiere and After Effects for everything. Therefore, lots of YouTube tutorials. How to do this, how to do that. And like you said, the CGI inside the locket was absolutely the hardest thing that I think I've ever done because it was totally new territory. It was a huge learning curve.
It was insane. I was blown away. I was like watching it. What is happening? Yeah, it was very impressive. So on a practical side, what was the location scouting process like? How did you find those locations? Because they're perfect.
Yeah, it was tricky.
Yes.
I spent a lot of time wandering through parks and woods around trying to find something that felt
I'm just picturing you like wandering
fairy
around like
tale enough.
with a map upside down. You're like 5 feet away from civilization. You're like, I am lost. I will never be found.
It's funny how close a lot of the times we actually are to a parking lot that I'm like trying to crop out. It was a really cool park. We ended up filming most of the forest scenes in.
Mhm.
And then for their home, in the flashbacks and at the very ending, we actually filmed at the Littleton Museum in Colorado.
Oh, shout out to
was-
Littleton Museum.
Absolutely, they are amazing. I had taken my students there on a field trip a few years ago, so I knew it was the place I wanted to go. I reached out to their management, and they were so awesome to let us come and film on a closed day. I'll definitely like link to their website. Go check them out. They're amazing.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Okay. So one huge, obstacle down, the locations, that's a huge part of the process. But other than that, what are the challenges that you have, physically trying to film all this?
Like it was all hard. Everything is hard. Filming outside is absolutely awful. I hate it more than anything. You're at the mercy of so many factors that you cannot control. Getting the lighting right was a nightmare.
Consistent.
I want to go back to making corny green screen videos in my bedroom forever.
Love it. Yes.
Being a crew of one really presented a lot of challenges too. I normally don't mind, doing my own work, but I realized for this project, there were a few things that I absolutely needed help with. I did all the camera work and the directing, but I needed someone to manage the light rig that I had built to puppeteer the light through the woods. So I had someone come in for that. And then when I realized I wanted some drone shots, I had to call in a guy who had a drone because I don't have one. And then I had to call him back when I realized I was going to add myself in playing piano. Once I had decided on that, I knew that I wanted to be Jennifer Thomas and have a whole piano in the woods doing my thing.
But I don't even have a piano, much less a way to get one into the middle of the woods. So I built one in my garage out of cardboard. Yes.
It was a fake piano?
The piano in the video.
A faux piano? A
Yeah.
piano faux?
The piano in the video is a glorified cardboard box. And I don't know how it held together, especially after I put it in the river.
Yeah, but
And
that was like seaworthy.
I'm so happy with it. It turned out amazing.
Oh my, how long did that take you to do?
I think it took me a couple of weeks.
I mean,
I looked at a lot of pictures of pianos, of baby grands, and just kind of sketched it out and pieced it together in my garage with a jigsaw.
Oh my God. I love it. I'm up to, when I watch it again, I'm up to stare at the piano like really hard. Like,
Yeah, you'll notice it's not real if you look too hard.
So I think that this film could be a great jumping off point for parents to have conversations with their children. And especially with this father-daughter, relationship, and then they go through the struggle together. What conversations would you hope that parents would have, with their children after watching this?
I really like that. Aside from my personal experiences that are reflected in the project, we do have this really beautiful, more surface level story of parent-child relationship. We see both of them making some behavioral mistakes and learning from the consequences of that. We all do that, have petty arguments or lash out or say things we don't mean. Those things are not nearly as important as staying together, loving each other, being home together, things like that. So, we still love each other at the end of the day, no matter the drama that we go through sometimes.
I love that. That's really sweet. And I think it's such a good, truly such a good allegory, for children, because seeing this, this short film, you're putting that conversation into a format that they can easily see and understand. And then they can reference it in moments of like struggle, like parents and children can be, talk about, okay, yes, I am frustrated right now, but it's like in Trail of Light, like I still love you. And just because we're going through this storm together doesn't mean that we're not gonna, be together at the end hugging, like I think it's beautiful. So.
Thank you. I love that.
Is there anything else that you want to share about this before I wrap up?
I think we've covered so much. I guess just to summarize, remember to do what you love without getting caught up in overthinking and overprocessing it. That's a journey that I'm still on, but all that extra pressure and expectation can really stifle your light. So, if you're a parent, remember your patience. If you're a kid, remember that your parents love you. And if you are a stressed out pianist, remember that you've got this. You can do it.
Yes! I love it. Words of wisdom for us all. Well, thank you so much for inviting me to share this with you and learn more about it. And it's really got my creative brain going, and I cannot wait to see what happens next. I want to see what happens with this claw person if you're doing that. We don't know what's going on, but I'll stay tuned.
Don't hold your breath for the sequel.
I'll stay tuned no matter what.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Christian.
Bye, Devin. Thanks for having me.
Thank you guys so much for watching our interview. I hope you love Trail of Light as much as I do. And if you are interested in learning how to play this song, I do have sheet music in the link below. Thanks. I will see you next time.
So at least with getting a look, sorry, oh, hello, Wesley. My dog in the background. Sorry, the like one moment it pops up.
Rewinding.
Bye, Wesley.